from the things that you're saying about Ozempic, can you, in a blanketed statement, say that it's good or bad? Do you recommend it for your clients?
So this is where it's like, it depends, right? Just
so
like anything.
There isn't a right or wrong.
There isn't a right.
Contextual.
Exactly. I do think that everybody needs to, if you're considering or you are taking Ozempic, there's another side of the coin that needs to be considered, which is the negative side effects of what I found with Ozempic is the low energy, the nutritional depletion that leads to like the zombie or Ozempic face. Like people get sunken in face and it's like you lose weight, but then after a while, the weight loss starts to become like you're shrinking inside.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Remember You, where four voices get together to bring you on a journey, not a destination. You've done all the work, you've read all the podcast, or you've watched all the podcasts, read all the books, and we're here to help you bring everything to integration. Thanks for listening to us, Season 2. Like, subscribe, and remember, we love you. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Perfect. Well, take it away, Justin. This episode, very relevant for the new year.
Very relevant.
Yes.
So the big topic that seems to be running around is Ozempic, peptides, like how these are taking effect. I'm sure we all know somebody who's on it and is just getting miraculous results and all that. And so what I want to do is just give you my perspective and my experience with peptides, Ozempic, and those things. I've had clients use variations of those peptides for weight loss. So speaking from personal experience, in the short term, they work. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, but I'm just going to say this, like, does any get rich quick scheme work?
No.
Like long term, right? It doesn't work. And so that's where Ozempic kind of fits into that mix, where it's like, it's going to get you quick results because it shuts down your hunger and it silences the noise. So I'm not here to bash peptides or Ozempic. They have a place, they have a use case. But just like any supplement or anything else, it's like it is an aspect to the goal. It is an aspect to health and fitness and weight loss, but it's not the only solution. It's only a piece to the puzzle. Lifestyle, frame of mind, identity, like all those things are what keeps everything together. And with Ozempic, I think the main concern that I have with Ozempic is that you're not eating. So it shuts down the mechanism and the connection between the brain and the gut to when you don't feel hunger. So it's great for people who have food addiction issues. And that's what
How do you know if you have a food addiction?
I mean, I heard this term recently, and an addiction is you do something knowing that it's not good for you and you continue to do it and you can't stop doing it. So
there's a level of like impulsivity.
Yeah, there's like something that you shouldn't be eating this, you shouldn't be digging into this, you shouldn't be doing it, but you continue to do it. So you get a short-term pleasure or a short-term relief, but then guilt, shame, disgust, or anger, and a multitude of negative feelings come after the surge of peace or calmness or anything like that. So there's a multitude of addictions, but Ozempic really addresses it does address actually, like it has research based in like alcohol addiction and other drug use and all these things. So it quiets the mind.
And just a quick pause,
Yeah.
I feel like kind of jumped in without any context. The reason that we're talking about this topic is because Michelle brought this up. Everybody wants to lose weight at the beginning of the year. Everyone wants to make a physical transformation. And the health and wellness industry has just completely transformed, even over the last like 5 years. And access to peptides and different like biotech and like all these different things are now coming to the forefront, but there's not a lot of really consistent information on how to use it. And specifically wanting to lead today with talking about Ozempic, because is it good or bad? Like nobody knows and like, or seems to know. So that's kind of the purpose of going into that today, because it is a peptide and it is only one of many, many peptides that are available. And so that's kind of why we're really going deep on it.
Yeah, and I think one thing to let our listeners know too is that we are not doctors.
Yes.
So anything that we're talking about today is just for entertainment purposes only. Overall, though, Justin, you've got a background in working with peptides. You have a person who you work with to get the peptides that is a reliable source. And I think one of the main things that a lot of listeners should be taking into consideration if this is something that they're considering doing on your journey is to get in touch with somebody who really knows what peptides to order and where to get them from, because there's a lot of crap out there.
Yeah, a lot of them are coming from China, or they're just not verified. So there's contaminants, or the purity isn't consistent. So you're dealing with a lot of unknowns, and they're not regulated. So there's a lot of compounders out there that are just kind of taking advantage of the craze.
Got it. So anyways, that being said, from the things that you're saying about Ozempic, can you, in a blanketed statement, say that it's good or bad? Do you recommend it for your clients?
So this is where it's like, it depends.
Yeah.
Right? Just
so
like anything.
There isn't a right or wrong.
There
it's
isn't a right.
Contextual.
Exactly. I do think that everybody needs to, if you're considering or you are taking Ozempic, there's another side of the coin that needs to be considered, which is the negative side effects of what I found with Ozempic is the low energy, the nutritional depletion that leads to like the zombie or Ozempic face. Like people get sunken in face, and it's like you lose weight, but then after a while, the weight loss starts to become like you're shrinking inside.
Right.
And so what I've found with clients who are on Ozempic or Tirzepatide is what I've worked with clients with.
What's the what can you tell us what the difference? Because I've heard Ozempic is semaglutide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you can get semaglutide under different compounders.
Correct.
Or through your doctor or whatever.
Yeah. So Ozempic is like the medical, like what Viagra would be to whatever the drug compound that Viagra is actually made of. So semaglutide, they're a GLP-1 inhibitor, which is this receptor in your stomach that basically tells you whether you're full or not and whether to empty the food into the digestive system, and the cycle of digestion continues. So you eat, your stomach empties it, 3 to 4 hours later, you're hungry again. With Ozempic or these semaglutides like Tirzepatide, they all suppress that hunger. So it slows down digestion as a whole. The difference between Ozempic and Tirzepatide, or Zepbound, this is the other common name for it, is that Tirzepatide increases insulin sensitivity. So I preferred it more than just inhibiting the hunger or quieting the noise, but in also influencing your metabolism so that you become more insulin sensitive, which means that you just process sugar more effectively. And as a result of that, that's how you can systematically lose weight in a different way. Yeah.
So you kind of were going to the negative side of things.
Yeah.
I've heard some stories, I'm sure our listeners have too, like Oprah ended up in the hospital from taking too much Ozempic, and everything got stuck in her stomach and was like basically like fermenting in her stomach because it wasn't empty. So is there like a special amount that you should be taking, or do people microdose it, or?
So yeah, you can. There's different doses for different people, and it's hitting on, like, the more you use it, the more you have to use over time because your body just gets less sensitive to it. So you're kind of building your
tolerance.
Yeah, you're building a tolerance to it, and so there's a range of what you should be taking, and then it's like, how extreme do you want that result?
Weight loss?
the effect of the peptide to be, right? So for a client who has strong food addiction and just can't quiet that itch or silence that noise, and constantly is going into the cupboard or the pantry or always eating out or in an environment where it's just conducive to everybody's eating together and it's all junk food or whatever it is they shouldn't be eating.
Yeah.
I had success with a client. It just completely quieted the noise. Like, he didn't struggle with food. He could think, he could perform, he could do daily activities and be productive. And that in turn increased his self-worth and his focus on more towards going towards other healthy avenues. So it wasn't the only thing, but it was the thing that just quieted the mind so that he could actually focus on other things.
Catalyst.
Yeah.
Catalyst.
So he had inner peace, basically.
He got inner peace, but then it was like you become dependent on it because it quiets it so well that when you're off of it, then it's like, oh, it's back.
Right.
And so I kept on warning him about this. I'm like, listen, you can't be dependent on this because you got to work on the other things as to why it is that you are addicted to food in the first place.
Right.
And not even necessarily the why, but like looking at the other factors in his life, his stress, the demands that he was imposing upon himself, the old identities that we'll get into, that like these things, chemically, he quieted his body. He got things more centered. But then you got the other aspects, the emotional aspects, the spiritual aspects that you got to work on too.
So it's almost like almost taking, if I hear what you're saying correctly, it's like taking one addiction, say it's to food in this case, and now you're almost becoming addicted to this quieting the mind and the effects of what Ozempic's doing for you.
And then and there's a side effect to that quietness because now that you don't have to eat and you're not eating, well, now you're depleting yourself of nutrients. So now you're not getting the protein you need to sustain the muscle that will ultimately keep you fit, healthy, and lean long term and healthy. Now you're minimizing the intake of all foods altogether. So you're just kind of riding off of chemical energy, which is ultimately going to deplete itself over time.
Well, and how do you make yourself eat if you're not hungry?
That's the hard part. So that's where dosage kind of comes into. So you can, take the edge off a little bit, but it's still there, but it's a little bit more manageable. Or in certain clients that I work with who are extreme, like they just want it all or nothing. So they want to just shut it off. And so they take a dose that just, they lose weight. They're getting recognized by their peers and, congratulated for how they look and all the change that is occurring.
But they're not doing anything.
But they're not doing.
So that's what I want to ask. So are you saying people are taking this and then just not eating?
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least like substantially decreasing the amount that they eat.
Because what it does is it sits in your stomach. Your food, right? You do eat sits in your stomach because the GLP-1.
Or you just don't even get the urge. So some people can go all day without food.
Oh, without even eating.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling.
And
I used to take Adderall. Like I was prescribed that.
Yeah.
And it like, I hated that feeling though. Cause by the end of the day, you're like seeing double. You're like so depleted. And that's why like I eventually like had to stop doing that. It's great. You lose weight because you're like, you literally can't eat. It like grosses you out.
Yeah.
But then by the but that's how it was. And I was prescribed it by a doctor, So it was like, I just did what they told me.
Well, and Adderall's a whole different. We could have a whole conversation about it, but it's interesting because what I'd like to know is how does this affect your brain? So we've done some stuff on some podcasts on leptin and stuff. So what is this doing to the chemicals in your brain? How is it interacting with all those other chemicals? Like, is it, because if she brought up Adderall, it made me think like, I know it's kind of, is it raising your cortisol or what's it like?
Dopamine.
It's raising dopamine, then depletes serotonin, and then you have this depletion cycle that goes on and you're burning one out and suppressing the other. So you're getting all the amplitude and energy from Adderall, but then there's the carryover for feeling good afterwards. And that's where you kind of feel depleted and empty afterwards.
But not to confuse.
These are.
I was just using the appetite suppressant as like a similar feeling where it was like great, but it sucks.
Yeah.
So that's what Adderall does. But then what does Ozempic do to those hormones, if anything?
So I'm not particularly aware of like the chemical breakdown of what's going on in the brain with all of this. I just know that it is suppressing that signal between the brain and gut or the stomach. And that just basically cues, you got ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. So I'm sure there's an effect on that where it's suppressing that. And then there's probably a carryover into a host of other hormones that it affects too. But in terms of like where the negative effects that I find is like the energy. Like people just don't have the energy to be able to work out, to move consistently at a level that would quantify as like fitness. Like you short out very quickly. You get flatlined. So people feel flat in their workouts. The energy is just, it's kind of limited to what you can kind of put yourself through.
So. Then eventually their looks just don't look as good.
I find that like I can see it in people's faces. Like I had a client, she had a picture with herself and her sister next to her. One was on Ozempic, her sister, and she was on just holistic therapeutic, just functional medicine, just supplements and whole food nutrition and exercise. And you could see the glow and the life in her. And in the Ozempic, it was just like drawn, like just sunken in face. It was like you could tell just nutritionally depleted.
So if people are really doing this for looks, they're not going to want to look that bad. So we should probably be thinking of other ways to control our mind, like meditation, quiet the mind, quiet our need for food, instead of just going.
It takes more than that, though.
This like the message I want to say here is like this peptides are awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like if you just rely only on peptides, you're only going to get so far. Like it's got a short runway. If you only rely on this chemical to be, or these proteins to be able to help your body to fix something that you've been dealing with, there's other things to deal with.
I wonder how long of taking Ozempic is going to be enough, and then you don't have to take it, and so you don't get that sunken look.
I think you gotta really look into the inner work.
Yeah.
You know, that's the missing piece
But if
in a lot of things.
If we're going to, let's say I want to start and I want to take Ozempic and work out and take the supplements and do all this. I mean, how should someone be advised how to handle that so that they don't get too skinny?
Yeah, that's where I think supplements kind of carry in to be able to help with the lack of intake of food. So you could take like a protein shake, or, you know, take in micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, you know, some type of multivitamin mineral complex, whether it's in a shake or a multitude of supplements, that helps.
So like that protein shake that you had me on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wanting, just before we get past this, so would you say then, in kind of summary, the positive perspective of this is like, for example, your client that had food addiction or so much food noise, when you live with that for so long, it plagues you.
It does.
It takes over your life, and it really just gnaws at your self-esteem and like how you view the world. And it's just like you realize how much it's like robbing you of like presence, you know, being with your family and just even being in your life.
Very much so.
So there's like this beautiful like result in the sense that it quieted that noise. But then if you're doing that to create momentum, that's where it's like a positive aspect.
Yeah.
But knowing that like it is a super small temporary kickstart, and that everything else needs to be completely initiated at the same exact time, meaning the foundational health kind of guides that you talk about, which is like sunlight, sleep, a baseline of all these different supplements that you're talking about, 4 to 5 days of movement a week, you know, your steps, whatever, this baseline lifestyle. And then outside of that is the therapeutic and like subconscious aspect of like, where is the root of this issue coming from? Yeah. And so if that's the trajectory, yes, positive. But if you're just like, I need to get skinny for summer and I'm ripping this and I'm not doing anything else, you're going to get those results of where your body's completely dependent on it. You don't have any of the like holistic skills to like keep this in a sustainable way. And then you're also getting the really negative side effects of the nutrient depletion, and then also, of course, like the vampire phase or whatever we're calling it. Or the Ozempic phase.
And I
although I love vampire stuff. I love vampire, like all those things, but not in this way.
I know the most important thing that we need to remember here is that think of yourself as like your energy, right? If you imagine yourself like a little tornado of energy or like a funnel or something. And when you start putting different things into your body, like the peptides, like Ozempic, when you're doing that, you're also inherently taking in the energy. So that Ozempic has a little tornado in it, and it's moving a lot slower because it's slowing your energy down. And then when you put good food into your body, that helps your energy tornado go back up, have more positive energy, better outlook on life. And so what I'd ask our listeners to really think about is what kind of energy do you want to be putting into your body, and how do you want your little funnel or tornado to be functioning? because the more you put something like Ozempic in your body, the lower your energy is going to go down because you're not feeding yourself with good nutrition. You're not exercising because you don't have maybe as much energy, all of that stuff, right? And it also goes into something I wanted to ask you about. So one of the key ingredients in Ozempic I heard was lizard venom.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
I believe so, yeah.
And then think about it. What kind of energy are you putting in your body?
And that's where like I think it's a shock factor more than anything, like where it's derived from, because a lot of these peptides are animal derived.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of medicine has been derived from, I mean, penicillin is from mold, right? You go, ew, gross, out of that, right? So I think you could go down a lot of different paths to say whether it's good, bad, or whatever it actually means. I think it's all about perspective, like how you view it is what you're going to get out of it, right? So like Hope, what you were describing is like the benefit of quieting the noise of that food addiction or that what anxiety. Like I've had people who have been on it and they don't have anxiety anymore. So it's like, it's calmer. Like that's great. But now you've got the work begins. Yes. Now this is like, you gotta take time to be able to get out in the sun. You got to take time to make the food. And now you got to figure out if your appetite is suppressed, what do you got to do to increase how do you get the food in and the nutrients in a way that doesn't make you feel gross or like you want to throw it up or you can't handle it. And then there's peptides that can counter some of the lack of hunger. You can kind of combine peptides and stack them to like make up for one of the things that maybe semaglutide does, that you could kind of curb that a little bit. Or you could take a peptide that helps to retain muscle mass so that you wouldn't lose as much, or you wouldn't lose like if you were just strictly on a Ozempic peptide.
So then the other question maybe to ask is why are people why?
It's like
because it's just a quick fix.
What you were describing is like, I think the majority, 80% of people are on it because it's like instant gratification. Right. It's like, right. Somebody's friend, shows up and they lost 30, 40, 50 pounds. And it's like, how did you do that? You look great. And she's feeling great. And it's like, yeah, okay, so I want to get on that. Like, right. I've heard about this. This celebrity's doing it. Oh my God, this is great. But then they look at them 6 months later and then they got that sunken in face. And it's like, they're just still taking it. And this is going back to like foundational stuff, like subconscious and spiritual, is like, I will judge somebody's success based on their level of peace, not on their external success, right? So if this person is looking good, but then still has the shit show of a life or whatever chaos they got going on in their lives, or they're just really their level of peace, that's a judgment. But it's like, if they're still reactive and still just don't have that level of peace, then I'm going to look at that and go, okay, what's really going on here? They're not addressing the root cause to these things.
Well, that's exactly right.
So going into the new year, I think people should not just look at, I want to be skinny and fit or look good, but it's holistic wellness. It's like your health is your wealth. So what are we going to be doing and who are we going to be advised by? Because we can just go to someone that did this, that was advised by someone else. Why don't you go to a professional that knows how to advise you so that you could have holistic wellness instead of just the peptide and then you're done with that?
So it goes like, the reason why people just continue to fail in weight loss or in fitness is because they're getting it from the people around them. They're getting advice from people around them. And how many people, and look at them holistically, are they injury free? Are they cool, calm, collective? Do they have a level of peace within them that you admire and respect? And they have the fitness and the health or surrounding around that. What advice are you actually taking? Are you taking it from somebody who got a prescription and heard about it and got great results and then isn't doing anything else?
Right.
So you got to plug in, you got to look at the whole
picture.
Yeah.
We have to take it seriously. Like our body is our temple or whatever, but we have to take our body very seriously and think about what we're doing and how we're going to take care of it instead of just doing the new fad or the new exercise because we know we won't stick to it. So,
well, I think I know everybody's different. So what might work for one person isn't going to work for another person because just the way our bodies are.
I I had one client get on Tirzepatide, another client got on Tirzepatide and he got sick.
Yeah.
And he couldn't handle it. And it was like just two different bodies, two different people. And there's these lists of symptoms with these peptides. And it's like majority of people are only going to experience maybe a little bit of nausea or nothing whatsoever. But other people, like that client, he got extreme nausea. He was like, I can't take it. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
So I'd want to go back to something you were talking about. It's like, who are you getting advice from and where are you getting it from? It's like what I'd like to liken it to is like when I really stopped drinking a lot of alcohol, right? All of our friends and a lot of our family, they drink alcohol. So they start like making you feel bad about not having a drink. And then at that point, you're sitting there thinking like, okay, now they're not going to like me anymore. Or they don't want to hang out. Did they never like me? Did they only like me? So, but then you start looking at some of them and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, why am I taking advice from you? You don't seem very happy. You're not like, and why am I feeling bad about myself? And
I think also it's the same thing with business. Like the worst mistakes I made with my first business was just like being open to taking advice from anyone instead of finding someone who had exactly the same business model and was already having the results that I was like going towards. Which like in hindsight, it seems so obvious, but there's so much noise online, especially when you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. So it's like avoid the bullshit of getting information from your neighbor or some like Instagram ad and like find a professional like Justin or like what type of people, like what are the titles of like different practitioners that would be really helpful to get like holistic health. So like if people aren't listening and they're not in this area, where do they Google? Like what type of, is it like functional medicine, like practitioner, like what's the best route to go when you're like just figuring out who to even start talking to?
I think a good introduction to peptides, and I think he'd be in the sphere of like who we'd be interested in because he digs into all sorts of different rabbit holes and stuff. Jay Campbell is probably like at the forefront for getting introduced to peptides. He's extreme and like just, he knows everything about everything. So it's like, Toys R Us for peptides. So you could do this and this and this. And you like come out of it thinking you could do all these different things.
Toys R Us, that's so old.
It's right.
Do they even have Toys R Us anymore?
Probably online.
That reminds me of like extreme late stage capitalism nightmare. Like
I have a bias. I want to say something. I think Justin is the person to go and talk to, even if they have to go on a Zoom call or whatever, because just in working with him, he can cover all the different things. He's discussing them on this podcast for a reason. So to send them somewhere else, it just seems weird to me, because if he can cover everything and then tell you what to do in a training session and talk to you about your mindset and then help you with your metabolic health and your supplements, I mean, like he should write a book or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But that's a good segue though into like your new upcoming offerings for this year.
Yeah.
So how people can work with you. I was just saying like if there's someone like another country that's like, well, this is amazing, but I don't have anyone around me, but you're still totally available for like consultations and things like that.
Yeah. So I do online coaching, remote coaching, and basically what I'm rolling out here is just a hybrid program. So it could be either strictly online or a combination of in-person and remote based. And a lot of it is based on the metabolic and lifestyle optimization. So kind of going through the process of just understanding what your metabolism, where you're at currently right now, and what deficiencies, what limitations, symptoms you're experiencing right now. And I think it's particularly for people who have gone through the ringer themselves or worked with other professionals and are still stuck and just don't know where to go at this point.
So maybe not exactly like a brand new.
This wouldn't be,
I've ever lost weight before.
Yeah.
Like
this would be like somebody who's gone through the journey a few times and, either feeling burnt out, sluggish, poor sleep, irritable, anxious, on top of trying to lose anywhere from 10 to 50 plus pounds. And through that process, I'm able to effectively guide them because of that frequency of doing a combination of calls and in-person meetings to be able to just put numbers to what they're actually, the practice that we're putting forth. So getting results is not just about losing 10 or 20 pounds, but it's the journey along the way. So you start seeing progress right away and I call it multiple indicators of progress. So it's not just the weight on the scale. It's a combination of like your body measurements, what that looks like, how that quantifies to hormone levels, looking at a health score and looking at how that health score is going up or down, and systematically seeing that progress along the way. So the work that you're doing is not just on a big macro 90 or 120 day program, but every week you're getting some form or feedback of progress. And that feedback plus accountability and guidance just keeps everybody on track.
And then do you recommend like peptides and stuff during this? So this is peptide coaching is included in the process. It's not required. okay.
And same thing with like lab testing and supplements. I don't require any of those things. Like there's a foundation to things that should always be practiced. And that's the lifestyle implementation. That's the nutrition. And then from there, you can start to upgrade and get into more fitness and strength programming. You can get into the peptides. You can get into lab testing and those things.
So if I came to you and I said I want to lose 10 pounds and I have some bad anxiety and I love to eat, like I get this like craving to just eat and I can't stop, then you'd basically give me your like quiz or whatever, and then you'd figure out where I'm at on that.
Exactly.
If you really think I'm like, I need it to quiet my mind, you'd say, okay, maybe we try like a microdose of GLP-1 or whatever and semaglutide, whatever.
Yeah.
But then also like, tell me a little bit about what other peptides are out there. Like I've heard a lot about this fountain of youth drug or fountain of youth, the BPC 157.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about what other things you have to offer and what the positive is and or negatives are of those. So
typically I think these are more my favorite type of peptides, where they're more of the healing from within type peptides. So BPC 157 is one of those peptides that helps just with systemic like healing of the body, the brain, the gut. I mean, just all things. It's one of those things that pretty much anybody, if you got any type of like joint pain or any type of tightness or gut issues, or you might not even know you have gut issues and it's starting to show up in brain fog, anxiety, poor sleep, can't lose weight. Like those are typical indicators of like something going on deep within. And so BPC is like one of those kind of shotgun approach that's going to improve everything. And the side effects there's really been no side effects known to negative side effects.
So I know a few people who have been on it. Somebody took it for carpal tunnel, and 6 weeks later, totally gone. The doctor said she needed surgery and she ended up not having to have it.
Yep.
A friend of mine is a functional doctor, and she has been like prescribing this for a lot of her clients that have knee problems that are destined, like they have been told you have to go in and get a knee surgery, knee replacement. And it's almost in every single one of them.
Yeah.
It has reduced and or they don't need a knee surgery, knee replacement anymore. Now she gave me a sample, but it wasn't the shot. It was an under the tongue. What do you?
Subliminal.
She did it for my hip because I had my hip replacement, and I said it was bothering me when I was sleeping. And she's like, "Oh, well, just take this under the tongue at night before you go to bed, and it should help." And it does, but I haven't been religious on it, so then it kind of comes back. So is it my question for you is one, what do you think about the like under the tongue version versus like a shot version, and is there a difference or not?
Yeah, there is. So the sublingual is just you absorb less of it. So
it's under the tongue.
Under the tongue. Yeah. And then the shot, it's just more direct and it's more effective.
Yeah. So you could, like, if I have a shoulder problem, I shoot it.
You don't even need to do that. So years ago I did it myself, and I had 6 years of knee pain going on. Nothing would fix it. I was working at a chiropractic office. I had rehab. I had all sorts of things, infrared therapy, ultrasound therapy, all sorts of different things, acupuncture, and nothing would fix it. And this was at the time where you would inject it into the direct spot, but now they found that over time that it doesn't matter, that your body just tends to know where to shuttle and where it needs to go. It just follows inflammation.
Okay.
So it just disperses and it creates more blood vessels in the area of inflammation. So then that opens up for getting rid of the inflammation markers, and then you start to heal.
So it
and
really
deliver
is.
nutrients.
So then it really is the fountain.
It's awesome. It's really it's one of a few. Like there's I got a like stack of peptides that are I would consider like these are things that I'm going to continue to take. Yeah.
So I have a question, and you
Yeah, I
don't
will.
have to-
I will.
You don't have to tell us if you don't want.
No, I'll
to,
tell
but-
you.
So I would love to know like what the stack is,
Yeah.
and then what the monthly cost would be for somebody who wanted to do this.
Okay.
Do you give it to us or?
So the cost is going to vary depending on the compounder and all that. And I don't have the pricing offhand for my compounders, but I can kind of give you a general idea of the pricing. So the BPC 157, that I don't know if I mentioned that it was like 6 years of knee pain and was gone in 2 weeks.
That's insane.
Like it was just like really quick.
Gone forever.
Forever. I haven't had it since.
See, that's what
But
she's
do you
saying.
take it every day?
No, you don't have to you don't have to take BPC all the time. It was like, it was over, I think like I took it for, I was prepared to take it for like 6 weeks.
Well,
And it happened.
Like rapid healing.
Rapid healing. And then I had 6 months of a shoulder pain going on during that time too. That went away. So it was just, like,
then it goes back to like, okay, once you get rid of the inflammation, don't keep inflaming your body more with, alcohol, bad food, not getting enough sunlight. It's like, it goes back to that inner piece of start to change your habits once this is helping you. This is like giving you your life back.
It accelerates the recovery, and then you got to maintain the lifestyle to maintain the recovery. And
So we're saying alcohol and other things will just
Bring it back.
yeah, it'll limit
inflammation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And inflammation, I just remember this from Justin's all of our other podcasts, is where you get the weight gain too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Weight gain is due to inflammation. Yeah.
And so you start to reduce all of those things, but you have to put into place a new inner you. And it goes again to choose, who do you want to be? What is your identity going to be?
And so then why you recommend even for women strength training?
Yeah.
Because a lot of women avoid it. But
you don't want to
they
get
need
bulky or something.
Yeah.
So why don't you explain that part? Like why strength training can help with maybe.
So muscle is like your nutritional storehouse of the body. It's like your health savings account. So when you get into a bind and you need to pull from savings, muscle is there to replenish and repair and be used. And for any such case of like any type of illness or stress, burn victims survive, recover faster if they have more muscle mass. Cancer, like the death rate of cancer goes down if you have more muscle mass.
Which actually, if you take a pause there for a second and we go back to the the Ozempic, right? You're losing a lot of muscle mass.
That's the point.
So
Exactly.
It's really, really
Good
bad
tie-in.
then.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if it's going to cause me to lose my savings, my support system that ultimately leads to longevity and well-being for the long haul, then I start to look at that and go, is this really going to benefit me? And that's where I would look at somebody and go, okay, you've been struggling with weight all your life, or you've been struggling with this. You're at a point in time where you just want to start seeing results, or you can't quiet that noise, or you got anxiety and just this thing that just you can't get rid of. Then you could start taking it to get some clarity. But then where's your support on the other ends, where it's, how do you build muscle? How do you maintain it? How do you maintain this lifestyle that is going to reduce stress, that is going to help build more health and energy? Like that's where the other components need to come in. It's not just taking a shot and lose weight. It's short-term thinking.
And can you tell us what fat does? So when you start losing fat, doesn't it put a lot of inflammation into your body too?
So your fat is like the dirty closet of the body. So you're storing things into fat. And as you start to break down fat or utilize it, now you're starting to expose these chemicals and these stressors, these toxins in your body. So you need to properly get rid of it. And if you don't have the right nutrients, and if you don't have the right nutritional support.
And most people who are sluggish anyways can't clear a lot of those chemicals out.
Yeah.
So they need some support and supplementation to help with that. So even if you're on Ozempic, if you're losing fat and muscle and your body can't dispose of it fast enough, what's going to happen? You're going to start getting sick, feeling sick. Right?
It's just some form of breakdown. some form of disease. I can't necessarily say like the mechanism of I think they're losing more muscle mass than fat mass.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of it is the case, right? So you don't get the same effect as somebody going on a detox and doesn't have the nutritional support. So think of detox as weight loss as like clearing of the system and getting rid of these chemicals. If somebody's not ready for the detox, they'll get sick from the detox, right? And Ozempic isn't necessarily doing that. Okay. It's not going through like a massive detox, right? If you take a detox shake or go on a detox, you're taking these nutrients to start clearing the system.
And your liver can't handle it.
And then your liver can't handle it. Your digestive system can't handle it. And then you start to get back up, and that's when you feel sluggish, sick, and you get these negative symptoms from that. So you need the timing, the dosage between whether it's a peptide or supplements is very important, because you could be doing too much of a good thing and it could cause like more stress than good.
Okay. So go back to our peptides. What's the stack you recommend?
So the stack, I like BPC 157. That's an awesome just baseline for gut health overall, just reducing inflammation in the body, just recovery as a whole. And that will improve all things. Like, does it improve anxiety? Well, if you improve your body's ability to recover, you're going to reduce the metabolic stress, which could reduce the chemical stress in your brain, which could reduce anxiety, right?
Sign me up.
Gut,
Where's the order for?
It makes you think too. It probably could, if it can help to like take away a lot of the inflammation, then somebody with like early onset Alzheimer or dementia or whatever might benefit from that.
There's some other cool peptides that have to do with like directly the brain and like ADHD and all that stuff too. It's really, and anxiety. But you think about like the thing with BPC is like there's all things tie back to the gut, and it's like BPC is so good for the gut. So it's like, if you improve the gut, you're improving everything, right? And so everything from joint health, it's an awesome place to start. Another one that I like for like longevity is a GHK copper, which is this copper, this peptide that helps to signal copper into the cells. And what that does is that produces collagen. And it also has an effect on the nervous system where it calms down the nervous system too. So like
does it help with gray hair? Like,
not necessarily gray hair, but it improves hair growth, follicle stimulation, and the thickness of the hair improves from GHK collagen production. So I got a client, she wanted to get on Botox, and I was like, no, like go on GHK. Really? Like, yeah, because
did she notice a difference?
She's just started taking it a couple months ago. Yeah. And it takes about like 3 to 6 months to really start noticing the physical differences from these things.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
But it's not like it's a little better. It's like, holy shit, it's better.
Right.
It takes a little time to build up the collagen synthesis and the copper in your body.
That's interesting, because I take zinc, especially during the like winter months, because I don't want to get sick, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I'll take some zinc. But then I started reading about it, and zinc depletes your copper. Mm-hmm. So I was like, shit. So I'm taking all this zinc. So then I bought a pill that has copper and zinc together in it. It's like a perfect combination, supposedly, that they came up with.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, because a lot of people are depleted in copper the older you get.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I think it's an awesome, and it's not only for skin, but it's like for tendons and ligaments and everything else. So it's like, it's just it's an overall for connective tissue, skin, hair, nails, all the things that people want to improve.
And again, this one, the GHK copper, is it a shot?
Yeah, you take it via shot as well. There's creams out there, but they only contain like 2 to 4% of the GHK peptide. But injection is always more direct. And that's where you got to get into like, there's symptoms with it, because people can bruise easily from it, or they can get knotted, like where the injection site is, they can get knotted up. So I got ways of being able to bypass that. So that's not an issue. Yeah.
Because if you're taking multiple peptides, you're taking multiple shots, right?
Sometimes you can.
Is it a week? Is it a week?
These are daily. These are daily peptides.
Wow.
Yeah, these are ones you take daily. Another one for more of like
You're
the
shooting up.
yeah, basically.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is such a like pipeline from
It
like
is.
partying to peptide.
It really is.
I was just thinking, I'm like, you go on a plane trip and you have all your needles and your
So they have like they have carrying cases.
They do.
Like people have made carrying cases for peptides. Another good solution is like taking your needles and pulling the peptides and then like locking them up so they're preloaded. So you can do that.
Bring the needles? I guess you can because diabetics have
Yeah,
to do
exactly.
that too.
Yep. Yeah, as long as it doesn't contain some, I think they're just checking for like explosive substance.
In like heroin.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's
Who knows?
one step away from there, right?
They're like,
Yeah.
they're like, these are my peptides. You should look into this. It could really help you with that back pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Like TSA's like, what the fuck is that?
They bring the sniffing dog over
Yeah.
just to
I'm
make
just
sure.
gonna call FaceTime Justin. Like, thanks. Getting the pats out.
Once you're on peptides, you're not allowed to travel. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Okay, wait. So did you say like an average price?
No, yeah, you still got a couple more.
We got the BPC 157, the GHK copper.
Yeah.
What else?
TB 500 is another good one. That's kind of synergist to BPC. Like BPC kind of shuttles or opens up the pathways to healing in a sense. And TB 500, it has a more of like a constructive building side. Like, so it signals cells on how to construct and what to construct.
So basically what it is, it's a carrier so that the BPC gets into your
BPC
cells
opens up
correctly.
and then the TB 500 is more of like the carrier. So BPC gets the cells there and TB theoretically, right? And then TB 500 actually tells the cells what to do.
Got it.
So,
That's interesting.
and then the GHK has the collagen formation effect to it. So TB can take that collagen and formulate it, like form it properly. So it reduces like, the reason why you have joint pain and tightness in certain areas is because of scar tissue and injury and movement over time, right? And so TB 500 helps to align that so there's less scar tissue.
So is that used for like arthritis or no?
Yeah, I mean, like theoretically, I can't say it's like it's treated for that, but but for people who are dealing with joint pain, who have any type of like ongoing chronic or acute type injuries, you know, short term, I had 6 years of knee pain and it went away in 2 weeks, right? As an example.
Well, and I think it's really important to say again to the listeners that it's very important that you go and talk to Justin or somebody like Justin that can get you in contact with a good provider that can compound these solutions with really good compounds, not anything that's a bunch of junk.
Correct. And I think there's a lot of, you know, it's a very hot market right now. So it's just like the supplement industry. Like it makes this claim, people are just going to push it left and right. And it's easily, you can get it anywhere. You can get it online. You just don't know the sourcing and they don't have I mean, a lot of doctors operate this way, right? Like they're just treating the symptom and they're just going, here, take this and you'll be good. And it's like, well, what about all this other stuff that actually caused them to be in this situation and state in the first place?
So are you saying that doctors are not prescribing?
Doctors are prescribing peptides. Yeah, they are.
I mean, most people get the GLP-1s from their doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not getting it from a functional medicine necessarily.
I mean, in my industry, everybody's pushing in going, this is like, you got to get in this industry. It's a money, like this is where things are going. And I see that as going, okay, there's an opportunity being in it, but also because everybody is going the easy route and just prescribing and using and not looking at the negatives and the other factors, that there's the opportunity to help people is that you can take this, but understand that it doesn't bypass the lifestyle and the stress that got them there in the first place.
And so I think we need to talk about that, like this holistic wellness that we talk about of how do you implement then exercise, good eating, and mindfulness? How do you do that? Let's say with you as the trainer.
Let me finish up the stack first here. I got a couple more.
Done with the stack?
No, got a couple more here.
Okay.
So, and then there's like some, like if you got this or that, or you want this, like there's a couple of cool ones. Okay. Another one that would be kind of like, so those would be, there's something called a glow stack. Yeah. That's the glow stack. Okay. BPC, TB 500, and GHK. Okay. And that's kind of like just rejuvenation, recovery, and it takes care of your skin, hair, nails, and all that stuff. And
So that's truly, if you want to say it, could be construed as the fountain of youth.
yeah, I mean, like as close as you can get, I feel like
Right
with like it's really cool times right now.
Okay.
I think we're entering a whole new phase of medicine. Like my mentors back in the mid-teens, 2014, were saying that this is well before that actually, but they were saying, peptides are going to be the future.
Yeah.
And here we are now, 2025, 10 plus years later, and peptides have been for decades.
Yeah.
I just got introduced to it in like 2015.
Well, even Ozempic, the woman who came up with it, she started working on this in 1980.
Yeah,
She knew like by 1990 that this was like, could help people with addiction and all these things, but it took that long to get it approved. And, so it takes a long time to come to market.
Oh, BPC was back in, I was telling this about 60s. You. It was like, I think 50s maybe even earlier, but Pavlov's dog that's where BPC was like really isolated and studied, was from the secretion of stomach secretions from dogs. And then they were looking at, okay, what did these things do? And they found that it had healing compounds. So like peptides have been well known for a long time. It's just now they're starting to hit mainstream, and now it's a good opportunity. But again, making sure that you're getting the right resources, the right guidance.
That's where it gets a little hairy.
Yeah.
It's like going to market, but the majority of the general population doesn't have like a foundation of like nutrition and like general health education.
Yeah.
So they're going to this without that foundational stuff that we're talking about. And then they're having maybe varied results, or they're not going somewhere that has like the best like the compounds or like the actual like quality of it.
Yeah.
Which is just super important, because I think it's like, if you have no idea and you're like, oh, I could just take this.
Well, it goes back to, I think we've talked about this a couple times, but even any of the supplements that you're taking, there's good supplements that will help you. And then there's crap out there that's on Instagram all over the place that, if you don't know, or some supplements might not be good for you, but they're really good for you. Mm-hmm. They're not good for me.
And the other thing too is dosage. Like, it's like if you take a lot of the Instagram supplements they're good ingredients. Like, I don't know the quality of the ingredients, but what they say is like, yeah, that's a legit combination. But the amounts that they have in them are like, this isn't going to do anything. Like, it's just a drop in a bucket. Like, you're not going to experience the benefit.
Not therapeutic doses.
Yeah, and you're not going to feel the benefit, and therefore you're not going to continue to take it because you're like going to get resentful. Yeah.
And you're paying $100.
Yeah, so that's where peptides really get personal too, is like the dosage.
Got it.
So I'll give you an example of another peptide. It's called DSIP, or Delta Sleep Inducing Peptide.
Okay.
And so I was having just a period of time where it was like I was waking up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I was eating right. I was living right. I was doing things right in terms of like the foundations and the bookends of the day to optimize my circadian rhythm. And I was just like, I couldn't help but be waking up at this time. So I started taking DSIP, and I was taking started with the low dose, didn't notice anything, increased the dosage, still a little bit. And then I was just like, let's go full dosage and see what happens. And I got a great night of sleep. And it was like night and day difference from that. Right. And of course, then there's like a period of like introducing it to your body. So over that week of increasing dosage, like my body was adjusting and adapting. But I found I took it, I had another, like from traveling over the holidays, like sleep was off. And I took it last night at the full dose, and I got a great night of sleep.
Interesting. So do you use it? So you could use that in replacement for like an Ambien or something like that, or as needed. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. My husband he wakes up at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
So common.
And his brain is going.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot go back to bed. So he needs to sit and read, like he has to like feed his brain with something. So whatever he woke him up, like usually it's work.
Yeah.
He can like then go back to bed, but it takes like 2 or 3 hours. And then by the time he has to get up for work at 5 in the morning, and And so he like gets a half hour of sleep and then has to wake back up and he doesn't want to wake up. So someone like that, it would be good for, huh?
It would be good to try. Like that'd be something I would recommend, because it's like, if you improve your sleep, then you're improving everything, right? Yeah. So there's another one, it's called CJC 1295, and it's usually paired with epimorelin. And those two in combination are basically like, they call them growth hormone secretagogues. So it basically just increases your own production of growth hormone. And as you age, you produce less growth hormone. And as growth hormone being it just has a cascade of effects on the body and in the brain. That one has pretty quick effects on sleep quality as well. So that's another one that's really beneficial for people. As you age, it kind of goes in with that glow stack. Whereas if you want to increase, if you're in a state where you want to work on optimizing your body inside and out, that CJC is really good for long-term leanness, long-term muscle mass maintenance, and regenerative repair, like regenerative factors. So that kind of carries with it a synergistic effect on the glow stack, is that CJC.
Experiment. Like if because like I mean, do you have any like before and afters of clients? Like, are you more like who are just focusing on the
just on strictly on the peptides?
Yes.
So this is actually recent. I'm actually, like, to put it out there, I'm like going to be launching like a beta test, like Amazing. 10 people, and just be like, I want before and afters testimonials for perfect.
Because this
and
is like literally where I was going
in on this.
Well, I'm kind of getting my like ducks in a row. The first quarter, I like know what I need to do. There's just a few lifestyle changes. Mm-hmm. And then once I'm at that place where I'm really in my rhythm, then I want to introduce these different peptides.
Yeah.
So that I'm like kind of what we were saying. So I'm not like, cool, it's like this quick fix. I want to just be like integrated into like.
It enhances. Right. It is totally. Like I can speak personally on it. Like the DSIP, it enhances me. The BPC, it enhanced me. You know, there's another peptide, it's called melanotan, and it's a tanner. So like it darkens your skin.
No way.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
So it's like
so funny.
So
that's interesting.
I've used it myself. It makes everything dark. So moles like really stand out because they're even darker. Funny. But like your whole you actually tan.
Well, yeah, I bet like the pros who do like the bot
exactly
shows and stuff.
I've seen guys who actually like turn black. Yeah. Like literally their skin gets that dark.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yep. So
I want to be white today and black tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Well, it's better for like people who are competing in those shows. Yeah. They're like going in tanning beds, spray tans or whatever.
It's one less thing.
Like, this is like a good solution for that, I guess.
So I have a question. Is there any peptides that help with hormones for women?
So I think the CJC is one. There's another one called epiphalin or epiphalin, I believe. That one is supposed to have a carryover effect into like perimenopause symptoms. I don't have all the details on that one yet, but there are some specific ones for like perimenopause and helping with that. But the overall, like back it up and like you want to improve hormones and you want to improve, just talk on the hormone level, that glow stack or even BPC is foundational. Because again, if you reduce the metabolic stress, now you give a good plane for your body to help recover and rebalance itself, because the hormones are a symptom, not the cause.
Yeah, so it's like I wasn't probably processing it, but you said it fixes your gut, and the hormones
they'll naturally balance it. Yeah,
balance out of that fixing of the gut.
Correct.
Got it. And so is that the whole stack, or do you have more?
There's more. Like these aren't necessarily like take all these. I'm just kind of adding some extras in here.
Wait, to pause in the glow stack, I just looked this up because it is a thing that like people talk about. So so just say those three again so that we know.
So it's BPC 157, TB 500, and GHK copper.
Okay. And those are like totally safe and common to take together.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to what you're saying now.
So then we talked about DSIP, we talked about CJC 1295 and epimorelin. The glow stack with the CJC 1295 and epimorelin, that's a good combination of.
That's for sleep.
That would improve your sleep, your deep sleep, as well as it kind of has a synergistic effect to the glow stack. Got it. And it also has a body composition thing to it. So it helps with like midsection leanness. It doesn't happen right away like Ozempic, but again, you're not depleting muscle mass. Your weight loss isn't coming from the loss of muscle.
It's enhancing what you're already doing.
Yes. Okay. And especially when paired with strength training, it's like a very good 1-2 punch. Yeah. So that's where lifestyle comes in with these peptides, like CJC by itself. But if you're working out, way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's one called MOTS-C. So I got a client on this, and he was actually on the Tirzepatide drag. Like he was doing it for 6 months and just like feeling flat, and he's got a very busy lifestyle. And he's like, "Do we got a peptide for that?" Whatever he's feeling, he's like, "We got a peptide for that." And he's one of those where I'm like, I give him suggestions and he runs with it. But there's one called MOTS-C, which is really cool. Basically it just enhances the function of your mitochondria. So it gives you energy and without a stimulant.
And for people who don't know, mitochondria is in your gut, right?
Mitochondria is in every single cell.
Oh.
So it's basically the powerhouse for every single cell out there or in there. And it's what produces the energy in your body. So your metabolism is dependent on your mitochondria. If you got low metabolism, it's because your mitochondria are depleted or not firing as sharply and hot as they should.
Okay.
Right? And that's due to nutrients, that's due to all sorts of toxins and things that plug up the system. So MOTS-C helps to increase the mitochondrial function, which gives you energy. And then people have spoken about like when they're feeling flat from workouts or can't just get into it, when they take MOTS-C, that it gives them a lot of energy.
Like ADHD symptoms?
Yeah, I think there is actually some association with that where people think more clearly. Yeah. And then they describe that with like copper, GHK copper too. Like there's more clarity in thinking. Same thing with the CJC. Same thing with the BP set.
157.
BP. Yep. All the codes. But they describe that there's more clarity, there's more focus, there's less noise. Yeah. So it's like all of these peptides kind of, because they're signaling things to kind of, one thing affects the other.
It really is like giving your body the ability to go back to when you were young and have that same, like you look at your kids and you're like, I want some of that energy.
Yeah.
And so you're mixing these together to help your body go back to where the natural state is.
Yes.
But then it really goes back to what Michelle wants you to talk about is like, how do you get that healthy lifestyle to follow? So it isn't just a pill that you're taking or this is a shot. It isn't just a shot you're taking, right? That you have to be dependent on forever. You want to be able to at some point get off of this, right?
Correct. Though I want to add 2 more just to kind of give an example from the peptide perspective on the range that it can affect. There's 2 other ones called C-Link and C-Max, and these affect the brain. Okay. And so they both increase this, what's it called? Brain-derived neural factor, BDNF, which helps with like brain repair and neuroplasticity. So it helps to like reshape the brain and help you recall memory faster. So if you got brain fog, if you got poor memory recall, if you got ADHD, like these 2 have actually been shown to dramatically improve one's focus, clarity, and therefore, because they're not stressing about that state of ADHD or anxiety or any of those things, it calms them down so they get more centered. But then again, when you're in that state, now what do you work on? That's where the work begins.
Yeah.
Right? So C-Link is more of like reducing of anxiety, whereas the C-Max is more of like kind of managing dopamine, balancing it out so they're not so reactive. They're more balanced. And so that ADHD kind of associated with that, where it's like, look, squirrel, it calms you down and it's like you notice things, and there's not a negative, there's a couple people have I've heard side effects, like it can actually increase irritability and anxiety in the very beginning if you take too much of a dose. But if you start low dose and just kind of build yourself up, it can balance you out and really change your mood. Yeah. So there's mood enhancers, there's inflammation, like things that help with repair. And then there's things that help with the more the cosmetic side. They all improve each other ultimately. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to go through.
So average cost for these things?
So if you were to go on like Glow Stack, for instance, and I'm just deriving off of my previous experience of dealing with research-based only compounders, I think it was around like $240 a month. roughly
All 3 of them.
for the stack together.
So that's interesting because like I probably pay about that for the different supplements that I'm taking.
Mm-hmm.
So some of it, like the collagen that I take,
You would benefit from taking that, actually.
would you then get off of the collagen that I've been taking?
I mean, it's one of those things that, well, let's let the experiment begin, right? And it's like, I would say, if you're taking in the collagen, of course, the quality of the collagen matters. And then if you're taking something that is signaling collagen, you could theoretically say that it's actually going to be more beneficial. Right?
It's just like already enhancing what you're doing.
Yeah. So you're giving it more of a signal of what to be used for.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. So that's where it gets personalized. It's like, okay, is budget a limitation? How much resource do you have? And then really a lot of people that I work with are just like, it's just about the time and the energy devoted to it.
Right.
Right. It's more so not about, do you want to be taking 20 supplements or do you want to just take a few that are going to really give you what you need?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting. I mean,
I get so sick from supplements.
Yeah.
Like,
People get burnt out.
and they get stuck in my throat.
No, like not really. I'm so sensitive to taking supplements. Like there's some different things. It doesn't matter how much I eat beforehand. It's just like I still am like plagued. It's like I have like PTSD from it.
Well, and what I've also noticed with supplements is I have this, and I know it's not new, but I just was introduced. I was using the Yuka app for a long time, but I kind of stopped using it because I didn't love what they were doing with it. And I started using the Bobby approved app. And he looks at supplements. Yuka does not. And I scanned some of the supplements that I was using that I thought were really, really good, clean supplements. And they're not. They're putting natural flavors in it. You don't know what natural flavors are. They could have
It's a wide range.
different like issues. And like, well, no. And so then like I was taking this Relight every day thinking it was good. And I scanned it and it's like, no, it's terrible for you. And I'm like, well, what the now? And so I ordered the unflavored one that he said would be good. And now I'm like, I can't even put it in my water.
Yeah,
It's like drinking seawater.
Yeah.
It's so gross. But I'm like, okay, how much was I drinking just because I was addicted to the taste?
Yeah.
And did I really even need it?
That's where again, with supplements, I kind of let just people, unless like you're working with me directly, that's when I'll say, do this, don't do that. Yeah. It really is. I mean, like the resources that I go through are for a reason because there's so much noise. Yeah. And what looks good is not always good. And so I've been grateful enough to be able to be in a wheelhouse of people who've done their research and their work to a point where it's, because when you get down to professional athletes and Olympic athletes, especially where you have one shot every 4 years to get the gold, everything matters in that very moment. And so I've had mentors who were that anal and serious about what they're taking and why they're taking it and how they're taking it, to a point where they had to verify who they were working with and how they were working. So there's no question that the stuff that I have Michelle on and I take myself is that if it's causing irritation or pain, there's an impurity in there. Yeah. There's something wrong going on, maybe too much of a good thing, or there's something that's not being addressed that is actually causing the issue.
Well, and also I did the food test with you, right? So there's also things that they put into these supplements that maybe you might be allergic to. True. Or something that maybe I could take, but you can't. Right. So like I have to look at all these supplements now to make sure there's no soy in it, make sure that it doesn't have any peanuts, like there's certain things that I know I need to avoid. Yep. You know, and people don't know that until they take a test like that.
No, it's like I think the thing that gets people I think one of the big things is quality. It's quality, dose, and then order, right? So it's like you could be taking this supplement that's quality and at a good dose, but you're not addressing the thing that you need to be taking, right? So when I think of a gut issue, for instance, I almost immediately go to, you need digestive support. Yeah. You need you probably have low stomach acid. And that low stomach acid is causing an array of issues that is causing the food to not be digested completely into your stomach. that's causing, fermentation and gut bacteria that shouldn't be there is there. And then that's causing all sorts of stress. There's another peptide actually that kind of addresses like mold and bacterial overgrowth, KSV. So that's another stack. They call it CLO instead of GLOW. So they add the KSV to it. So like that's a synergist where it gets rid of, it helps to eliminate some of those things. And again, this is in theory because this is all research right now. It's not like proven that it does this stuff, but it's.
So if say I have that and I do go to like you for testing, right?
Yeah.
And you can get the blood tests or whatever they do for the gut bacteria to see if you have like the bad, the sugar, what is it?
Candida.
Candida.
Yeah.
So you have it, right? And you can see it on these tests.
Yeah.
So then you take the peptides for whatever amount of time, then just go back in and get another test done, right? To see if it worked.
Yeah, I would do a little more than just doing the peptides. Like you want to make sure your nutrition is right. You can't be eating
Sugar.
a lot of sugar that candida is going to be thriving off of. And then it also helps to take some like bark extracts and some other things that help to like eliminate the candida at a faster rate. And then there's also like, where is it? So there's different formulations that address different. So if it's in the cell or if it's in the gut or if it's a combination of those things.
Can you find that out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you find that out?
It's data in the test. And again, like not all tests are created equal. Mm-hmm. So it's like they may look at one aspect, but you're missing the other. So like mold toxicity, it could be more in the respiratory system or it could be in the gut. And then same thing, you go into like leaky gut and it could be a different form of leaky gut. So there's ones that are, so you address.
It goes back to what we were already saying in the very beginning. Like everybody needs to have their own personal profile done so they know what their biology is and where they need to focus their attention, because you can take all these things, but you might not need them. You have to kind of do the research first before you just start willy-nilly taking like.
Yeah, it's like I think if you want it depends on the severity of the symptoms, right? And then again, or how far down this path have you gone down yourself, right? Where it's like, I've done this, I've done that. You've spent thousands of dollars, like our listeners, you've done the homework, you've done the research, and now it's like, you just want clarity and just like eliminate the noise. Like, give me the substance that's actually going to give me something. And when you go down all those different paths that we just described, it can be overwhelming because it's like you got all this data and it's like, okay, now what do I do with it? And you've tried all these different routes. I think it's like it's going back to just getting back to the foundations, focusing on that first, and then starting to stack on top of the foundations the supplements that are going to help for you, and then the peptides that are going to help for you. And then, from there, that's where like true change starts to occur from within. And it's like, it's a combination of the physical, the chemical, and the spiritual and mental or emotional, however you want to deem it. You got to do all 4 or 3, however you categorize them, but you got to do it all. You can't just do one. And it can get overwhelming. And that's where I find myself really shining, is where people come to me, you've done all this. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to focus on this. And then if they get results from that, then their trust builds within themselves to carry on and go into deeper, more therapeutic methods,
Right.
such as peptides and these other things.
And so I think it's important to say that it can be not overwhelming if you work with someone like Justin, right? So he's going to tell you, okay, come 3 days a week, 1 hour a session, and I'm going to tell you what to do. And then I'm going to tell you what to eat for 14 days, like first 14 days, what you should eat. And then he tells you what time of day, what supplements you're going to take. So that makes it less overwhelming when someone's telling you and you're paying him for his professional advice, is what I think is important. Because I know people think it's overwhelming because you're going to sign up for Planet Fitness and go every day and think you need to walk for an hour a day. And you're taking like 7 days a week because it's not working and because you're eating whatever you want and you don't know that you should not be eating this or that. So he's going to tell you, and then you're not going to waste your time and your energy that you don't have because you could only go, let's say, 3 times a week.
Right.
I mean, so it makes it less overwhelming. It makes it more doable. And he works with your schedule. So it's like,
And it gives you accountability.
The feedback, I think, was one of the cool things that I'm recalling with Michelle is when she did step off the path and came back, I would notice, and I would say, I would ask her questions.
Well, and was that all about?
You
Yeah.
really notice right away, but you notice the results that he's telling you what to do. And if you follow, then you notice results. And then when you step off it,
Yeah.
then you notice that what's
Yeah.
happening. And then you notice why he's telling you to get on the bike.
It's very true. It's very true. It's like anything that you want to change, you really need like a coach or a mentor to help you through it. So a lot of the clients that I coach and do hypnosis with, I can tell when they fall off too, because it's like, okay, they'll come in with their past stories again, their self-talk's negative. I'm like, what happened the last 2
Paradigm
weeks?
came back.
They're like, well, for the first week I did really good. And then like something triggered me and I went back and I'm like, well, now you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Are you saying, are you choosing feeling I aming or what do you do? You're not like, I'm sitting here looking at you, not doing what we've been talking about doing. So then they come back and they need the coaching. They keep working with it. And if it's consistent, if I see somebody every week or every other week and they're consistent with it, I see the change.
Yeah.
It really does change.
Yeah.
But if they are trying to do that on their own, dying, they're not getting that same change because they don't have that same accountability and coaching. It's
or knowledge of what you should do and what's going to be effective quickly, because we want results quickly, right? All of us.
Yeah.
And then not only we need to think about the strength training, metabolic health, but the mindset. You're talking to him about what's going on in your life and what's bothering you and how you can rethink that, reframe it in your brain. I mean, this is all effective.
And he's very unique in the way that he does his training, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just it's not like you're going to a personal trainer getting some sessions. He's also looking at you holistically on, okay, do you want to start dabbling in supplements or peptides, or do you want to get more information on your health? Let's do these tests and let's start to look at what's the biggest problem in your life and address those things. And with supplements or inner work or whatever. And also he's done so much spiritual and inner work and has a background in hypnosis and different things like that, that will help all around, almost as like he's your personal trainer. He's also your therapist and your functional doctor for some, so it's like, okay, that's very cool skill set. There's not a lot of people out there that you can find like that.
Oh.
And then for our listeners too, can you tell them, I know you've said this before, but you've been able to kind of optimize your taxes to be able to write this stuff off, right? As a wellness activity too?
Well, yeah. So it's was for my business. I was shifting in order to be able to do my business, how I need to be healthy and not tired, and how I was before I met with him is how I decided that was a business expense.
Got it.
So,
yeah, that's like, I think a big aha moment for people is like people are getting feedback with Ozempic and feeling good from the feedback, but it is a snippet of like when people start noticing that you're driving around a nice fancy car, like they start to acknowledge and share, you wear something nice, they acknowledge, they share their appreciation for how you're looking. You can look good in almost anything when you got your body in shape. Like it's like, and it carries with it such a level of self-worth and an energy that just can't be replicated or really, it has to be earned.
Yeah, it's really important, the energy aspect of how you feel and look, because energy is money. Right. And so if we think about it that way, everybody needs to be writing off any of their wellness activities or supplements or anything, because if you're not in a good place energetically, feeling positive, talking, having that good self-talk and doing all these things for yourself, then you don't have as much energy, which then you can't produce as much. So you're then not able to be a part of society as much, and you're feeling down or you're getting sick a lot or whatever. So the key takeaway I would say from this podcast is for everybody to really assess their inner energy and decide, where do you want to be on the energy level, and where do you want to produce from a society level, and then go and start doing some of these things that will make you feel better, but do it holistically. Don't just do it like one-off willy-nilly. I don't know if you guys have anything to add.
No, that's really great. I was just going to say or ask you for these. So say there someone, okay, we're like selling you, like, you're so great. Like there's all these things. So we come to you, what's the process like right away so people know? And then like, do you recommend certain people to be doing this group program versus like, is the hybrid program a group program?
No, it's an individual program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything you do is individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that kind of.
Yeah, so the first step after getting set up is filling out a metabolic questionnaire. And so this is a thorough just assessment to give you a health grade. So it looks at everything from your digestive health to your central nervous system to your hormonal health to your liver to joint health and all these other things. And we've done this with Michelle where like she started with a score and then we measured it out 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months later. And she cut the score. So the higher the score you have, the more symptoms, the more pain, the more disease you are And as we did her program, she cut it by over half, the symptoms by more than half. So, and I mean, since then has eliminated symptoms that were just why she came to me in the first place. Yeah. So it was just like dramatic change. So it gives you a health score and that helps me to target exactly what system we need to focus on. So I said order is an important part. So if you show up with gut issues, and you may not even know that you have them, but the assessment will show me, okay, this is clearly the priority. So you may have gut issues and then it shows down the line on the test that you may have hormone issues. Right. And so there's two things going on. And those are the two priorities to focus on. I'm just going to target the one, the gut, and because there's a domino effect to all these things. So after that assessment, you go into a targeted plan. So you get a foundation of nutrition and then you get into supplements that could be more targeted towards the priority to focus on, or could be generalized depending on where you're at. And then we basically just meet up for, body measurements and going over your nutrition plan and exactly how you're going to implement it. And then the ongoing support you're going to need. So that's where it gets personal. And then based off of that, you have more clarity and understanding of, okay, what my weight consists of, how am I going to lose it? And what are the expectations? I'll give you an idea of how much you should lose. If you follow the plan to a T and do everything, you should be at this weight or this type of number by this point. So it gives you a good projection of what to do. And then the weekly check-ins. So there's a combination of in-person and then remote calls. Those are check-ins to make any adjustments and ongoing support. And there's certainly, when you implement something new, there's always going to be some feedback. There's always going to be something that you need to spitball and figure out. So the coaching is really the glue that holds all these plans and programs and things together, whether it's just nutrition or now you're implementing lifestyle optimization, and then you're adding peptides or supplements to the mix. Like, I'm figuring out how to make it plug and play for you and give you the resource or give you the tools that you need. And all you need to go do is just go out on the field and play.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. I think that does it for this episode. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
I did not know there was this much to learn about peptides.
Yeah,
I am so excited. This was such an incredibly helpful episode. I think we're going to have a lot of folks want a follow-up. And maybe even we can do something with, like, you know, if you and I want to be, or I don't know if you want to do it too.
You guys can do it. Be a part of that.
Yeah, the beta test with glow stack, you know, whatever else.
Next step.
Yeah.
Next step, Michelle.
Whatever else. But I think there's definitely going to be interest in follow-up. This was fantastic.
And I'd like to see if your friend who does the compounds for the peptides would be interested in coming on and talking to us on a more deep level on, you know, what her clinic does and what she's seen. Maybe she can bring some before and after pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can follow up with all that.
Okay,
awesome.
cool.
Well, thank you.
All right. Peace, you guys. Have a great day and appreciate you listening to us. Remember you, subscribe and like us. Love you all.